Welcome gamers, welcome back to Gamers Bay. It's Daniel, and today we're going to take a look at a really cool arcade racing game from Unis called Crazy Speed. So this game was first released to arcades back in 2010, and it's basically a mix of street and track racing depending on the course, and the game features races with sports cars from numerous international racing locales, including America, China, Germany, and Australia. Now, the game offers 3 classes of vehicles to race with players choosing between speed, handling, and balance for each class. Now, while the faster vehicles do have the advantage of speed, they also tend to not handle as well on the more difficult tracks, the ones that have a lot of really windy roads. Now, while none of the vehicles in the game appear to be officially licensed, the vehicles included do closely resemble a number of licensed vehicles, although the names have been completely changed, as are many of the vehicle emblems. Now, the vehicles do closely resemble models from Nissan, Mercedes, Saab, BMW, Volkswagen, Audi, Toyota, and more. And some of the more notable models are the Nissan Skyline, the Toyota Supra, and Chevy Camaro, among others. Now, if you look closer at the vehicle emblems, you'll notice that many of them have been changed, so they're not the original emblems. Now, one of the really cool features of this game are the extensive customizations, including numerous vehicle upgrades for parts, artwork designs, and the ability to change the color of the vehicle. Now, beating races unlocks new parts, including supercharged engines, wheel upgrades, and spoilers, among others. What's more, the game featured a card system where players could actually save their progress, including all of their vehicle upgrades. Now, players can add and save up to 3 vehicles per single profile at a time. Now, the game also does have a nitrous boost function. Now, when the boost meter is maxed, you actually get like a 10-second super boost that follows, but it takes a while just to charge it up. So it really comes at the expense of taxing you not being able to boost for a minute or so to get the meter up. Now, the vehicle handling varies depending on which class you choose, but the controls overall were very responsive and really effective. And it's really a huge plus given that some of the tracks in the game have incredibly steep, winding curves. Now, the game's racing opponents tend to be super aggressive. They will often ram into you, and in many cases they will attempt to block you in on curves, forcing your vehicle to a complete halt if they can. And in other cases, the opponents will actually ram into each other, causing a pileup, but the pileups are often to the player's advantage if they can manage to avoid getting caught up in them. Now, Unis did later deliver a sequel to this game called Crazy Speed 2 back in 2015. Now, that one I have not played, but I will say this is a solid racing game. The controls are spot on, they're really effective. But like I said, the faster vehicles are not so great on the tracks that have a lot of really windy curves to them. You really need to take the more balanced class of vehicles to race those. They can turn a lot wider on narrow curves than the heavier, longer wheelbase vehicles can. But overall, this was an awesome racing game. It definitely has some Midnight Club type vibes to it. Really cool stuff. If you haven't played this, I definitely do recommend it. As far as emulation goes, there's not really a whole lot of options to play this game outside of Technoparrot. It will run in Technoparrot. Other than that, you're going to be hard pressed to find this game in the arcade. From what I understand, the cabinets and the boards for this game overall are pretty rare and they're very difficult to find. So this is probably not something you're going to find in modern day arcades today, at least not in the US. But it is playable in Technoparrot to for the most part, to some degree. Overall, I really like the game. If I had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give it like an 8. I kind of wish that it had a few more tracks to race on, but, the tracks that are available are actually pretty good. I do like this mix of street racing with some tracks, others are more like racetrack type environments. And it's just a really decent racing game, and it's really worth giving a play. So what are your thoughts on this? Have you played this game before? What do you think about this game? Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, it really does have kind of like a Midnight Club vibe to it if you played any of the Midnight Club series games. The handling feels very similar to the handling in Midnight Club 3. It's just very, very spot on. And the appearance of the vehicles too. But overall, it's just a decent game. I definitely recommend this one. Like I said, I would totally give this an 8 out of 10. And I'm really interested to play its sequel. But like I said, unfortunately, that one is just not... It's kind of also very difficult to find, and it's not been emulated as of yet, as far as I know. But in the event that it does become emulated, or I can get my hands on the original arcade hardware, I will absolutely make a video of it for you guys. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and tune out now, but I'm going to continue to play through the race, and you're totally welcome to continue to watch. And until next time, take care.